Aloha everybody, and welcome to Beachwalks with Rocks. Today is show number 113 OTR. That stands for On the Road, and you can find us at beachwalks.tv. So I'm going to try the old handheld camera trick today because I'm jonesing for a real walk, which is part of what Beachwalks is about. And the closest thing I'm going to get to a beach here in Santa Fe is to, got a little doggy there, hi doggy, is to walk down in the arroyo. The arroyo is the Spanish word for river, and most of our arroyos here in Santa Fe, being the high mountain desert, are usually empty like they are today. So it'll be fun because you know what? Having to hold the camera like this is going to keep me from talking too long. But one of the things I was thinking today, one of the most common comments that I get from people are, where do you come up with all the content? You always have something to say. And how long does it take you to prepare a show? And I don't know if it's the good news or the bad news, but really I don't spend time preparing the show. I wish I had the time to prepare a show. I think I could really do a killer show, but I've got a regular job, and the whole idea behind Beachwalks was to come up with something that I could do and basically fit into my spare time or fit into my regular life when I'm doing something, that I do anyway, and just invite you along. So that's what I do. I happen to have an overactive mind, so it's nice for me to be able to actually have a conversation with you at the beginning, or as I'm doing here in Santa Fe so far at the end of my work day, and let you know what I've been thinking about. So there's a new restaurant here in Santa Fe called Annapurna, and it claims to be a Ayurvedic healing restaurant. And I thought that's a great example of what Santa Fe is like. Santa Fe is very much of a place oriented towards healing, toward the arts. Lots of therapists here, spas, chiropractic, acupuncture, all kinds of things going on. And so people are very interested in these alternative topics. Ooh, the arroyo is very sandy, so I don't have very clear footing. Thanks for putting up with this here. But anyway, Ayurveda is a fascinating thing, and for those of you that are wanting to lose weight, it might be something to look into. Or for those of you that might have an eating disorder, might also be something to look into. Because I used to have an eating disorder. I was in a ballet company one of my careers ago, after marine biology and before public speaking. I was in a ballet company, and like pretty much every ballerina that I knew at that time, we all had an eating disorder, because you get lined up in a row at least once a week by the ballet master, and he says, I want you to lose 2 pounds, and you to lose 3.5 pounds, and I want you to lose 0.5 pound. These really, really ridiculous amounts that in most cases you could just go to the bathroom and lose that amount of weight. Nonetheless, we were all crazy about our weight, so I ended up having this eating disorder. It was really hard for me to break it. And then by luck or divine interference, you might say, I met up with someone who became my husband, who is no longer my husband, but that's not the point. The point is, he's a great cook, and he cooks ethnic foods. And what is the tie-in here between that and Ayurveda is that Ayurveda teaches that we have on the tongue 6 tastes. The ones that we are most familiar with here in the United States are sweet, sour, and salt. But there are 3 other tastes that we tend to lack, or foods that we don't satisfy that taste. Those are bitter, pungent, and astringent. Green leafy vegetables are typically bitter. Things that are astringent are things like apples and beans. And then things that are pungent, of course, are chili and spices. So when you're not feeling satiated after a meal, it's probably because you didn't get all 6 tastes satisfied. So, you know, the classic American diet, hamburger, French fries, Coke, sweet, sour, salt, we don't feel satiated, so we tend to eat more and more and more. And really, if we could just put some chili peppers on there, have an apple, and a little bit of a salad, we'd actually be satisfying all 6 of those tastes, and maybe you wouldn't want to eat so much. Anyway, that's what I found. I found that when I was satisfying all of those 6 tastes, that my cravings for the hardcore sweets went away. So in Ayurveda, sweet is about complex carbohydrates, not necessarily sugar. Definitely not sugar, raw sugar, processed sugar, but things like the sweetness that is in milk, that is in wheat and rice. That's what they mean by sweet. So I'll put some show notes up with some links to the web where you can learn a lot more about this, and perhaps you'll find it interesting to come up with a different way of planning your meals and see if that has any impact on how you feel. Because here at Beachwalks, we want everybody to feel good. Thank you for joining me today. If you'd like to Skype, you can Skype Roxanne Darling. And of course, if you'd like to call, you can call 949-544-1456. Aloha, everybody.